fine. I don't need to sleep with the lights off ever again. Hello, Internet. I'm Ren, and now that spooky season is upon us, I want to talk about some of my favorite horror movies and TV shows. And today, we're starting with the Phillipou brothers' Australian indie film, Talk to Me, which is one of the best horror movies I've seen in a long time. We'll start with a detailed but spoiler-free breakdown before I give you a spoiler warning and get into some more specific analysis of the story and particularly the ending. Talk to Me originally premiered at the Adelaide Film Festival in 2022 and has since been picked up for distribution by A24. It made its way into theaters worldwide in July of 2023. Without giving too much away, the premise of the film is that a group of teenagers use a mysterious, embalmed hand that allows the user to talk to the dead as a sort of party game. Of course, there are rules that must be followed or terrible things will happen.
Didn't Zelda tell you there are rules and terrible things could happen?
I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the rules, of course, are not followed, with horrifying results. Because there wouldn't be a movie if everything went well, would there? I went in to Talk to Me expecting a fun, campy, teen supernatural horror, but this movie had a much darker tone with an omnipresent and mounting sense of dread and an ending that'll stick with me for a long time. I love horror, especially the supernatural and slasher subgenres. Despite the low esteem critics have had for horror historically, it often contains some of the most interesting social commentary, and like sci-fi, horror frequently uses allegory to hold up a mirror to the audience and society generally. Talk to Me is no exception. The effects of the hand are clearly indicated to be an allegory for teen drug use, and specifically the opioid epidemic. Some of the parallels that stick out to me are, the kids use the hand in secret at parties, it feels amazing for the user.
Amazing! Yeah!
It's hard for some of them to stop, and it's easy for it to go devastatingly wrong. It's also interesting that the teens are shown filming each other and laughing during the possession scenes, which are actually quite harrowing. This element of the film was apparently directly inspired by the directors of the movie having been shown a video of a teen convulsing from a bad reaction to a drug at a party, where the other kids were laughing and filming them rather than getting them help. It's not surprising, considering it's apparently common for people to show up to the ER with alcohol poisoning or overdoses and dicks drawn on their faces. Anyways, I think the movie also does a good job of showing that teens that are struggling already may be more prone to self-medicating and developing addictions as a form of escapism. Talk to Me isn't preachy about its commentary, though, and I personally got too wrapped up in the story the first time through to pay it much attention, but I wouldn't say it's subtle. It's more that the story has so much going on that the commentary necessarily fades into the background. I've seen so many horror movies, especially the supernatural ones, that it's gotten to the point I am rarely surprised. So if I am genuinely shocked by a story, I am delighted. And this movie stunned me. There were actually several moments where I had to pick my jaw up off the floor. I was on edge and engaged the entire time, which is rare these days with my ADHD. Sometimes it takes me a couple times watching through a movie to pay full attention to it and actually absorb the whole thing. But Talk to Me sucked me in almost immediately. I don't think I glanced at my phone once. The excellent performances of the cast are a huge part of why this movie works so well. Sophie Wilde as Mia is superb. Her range is phenomenal, both when portraying Mia herself and during the possession scenes, which again are deeply unsettling.
Run, 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 run.
Wilde gives the character this raw, vulnerable quality that is truly touching. Another standout is Joe Bird, who plays Riley and gives an amazing performance, especially for such a young actor. It's always fun to see Miranda Otto. She plays Jade and Riley's mother, Sue, and I loved her as Zelda in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and of course as Éowyn in Lord of the Rings. And she is a great addition to the cast here. Alexandra Jensen is also really solid as Jade, Mia's best friend, and she and Sophie Wilde play off each other really well as their characters' friendship is tested throughout the movie. Also, shout out to Zoe Terakis as Haley. It always makes me happy to see non-binary actors in amazing projects like this, and they are really good in Talk to Me. Practical effects, artful cinematography, and an intentional aesthetic featuring contrasting warm and cool color palettes throughout the film also lend Talk to Me an air of polish, despite a budget of only $4.5 million. Apparently, the Phillipou brothers were actually offered a larger budget to create the movie with an American studio, but chose to work with a lower budget and smaller studio to maintain creative control. I really admire that integrity, especially considering that they're actually YouTubers, and this is their first feature film. I don't watch their channel, but I don't know if I would have paid human money to watch this movie if I knew it was made by YouTubers going into it, since most theatrical offerings from YouTubers have been very bad. But Talk to Me is really well made, especially for a first film. It feels like they had a very clear vision that translated well into a streamlined, intentional, and surprisingly scary movie. While it isn't exactly gory, there are some scenes in Talk to Me that I definitely watched through my fingers. Unfortunately for me, the sound design was so viscerally on point that looking away didn't offer much relief. A couple of these scenes also feel like they go on for a while, and they are unrelenting in terms of the sheer brutality. If you watched them without looking away, I am impressed and a little scared of you because I was physically cringing. It didn't necessarily feel gratuitous, though. I'm just an absolute baby when anything believably violent happens on screen, and of course they threw in a little hand horror too, which gets me every time. Also, 3 separate scenes had the germaphobe in me screaming. But what really makes this movie stand out is the writing by Danny Phillipou and Bill Hinsman. The teenage characters are so believable, and the questionable decisions they make are understandable in the context of the story. The narrative feels like an inevitable snowball of cause and effect that picks up speed as it goes, and you feel helpless watching it, but can't look away. Let me stress, this movie is excellent, but it's also a major bummer and hard to watch at times. But what impresses me the most about the writing is that it actually manages to stick the landing with the ending. There are more than a few horror movies with an amazing beginning and middle that just kinda fizzle out towards the end. For example, the ending of another one of my favorite indie horror movies, It Follows, is arguably one of those, feeling rushed and poorly thought out even with the ambiguity they tried to inject into the final scene. Whereas the ending of Talk to Me, like the sequence of events that leads to it, feels inescapable. It leaves you shocked, even though it's so well planned within the narrative that it feels like you should have seen it coming. Despite how much I like it, Talk to Me isn't a movie I'll be rewatching with any sort of regularity after finishing this video. Unlike something like the Fear Street movies or Scream, which I can watch again and again, Talk to Me is one of those films that's almost an ordeal to watch because so much of it is so heavy. But I'm still really glad I saw it, and I would recommend it. It just occupies a similar space in my mind to Hereditary or The Banshees of Inisherin, which I'll definitely make a video about at some point because I saw Banshees months ago and I am still thinking about it. Talk to Me is definitely not what I'd call art house or elevated horror. It's more approachable, but it's a movie that will stick with you in an uncomfortable way, and it's definitely worth your time. That's all I can say without spoilers. If you haven't seen Talk to Me and think it's a movie you want to see, I am basically begging you to go watch it before watching beyond this point. But if you don't care about spoilers, I can't stop you either way. Consider this your warning. Also, content warning for discussion of suicide and drug use. If you're sensitive to other triggers, I recommend checking out doesthedogdie.com for more information as well before watching this movie or the rest of the video, because it is a lot. Although, incidentally, there is a dog and it does not die. An unfortunate kangaroo isn't as lucky though. While I mostly want to talk about the ending of Talk to Me, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the plot for context in case you didn't take my advice and have not watched the movie, or if it's just been a while since you've seen the movie and you need a quick refresher. Talk to Me opens with a kid at a party looking for his brother. It's a tense scene that's either a single shot or cut like one as he navigates the crowd, getting more and more frantic. He finds his brother behind a locked door and kicks it down to get to him, and things escalate. His brother stabs him, and then himself, as everyone looks on and films them rather than helping. We cut to the title screen and then to our main character, Mia, who is at a remembrance event for her mother. Afterwards, she picks up her friend Jade's little brother Riley when Jade forgets to get him. They find an injured kangaroo in the road that Mia can't bring herself to mercy kill. They get to Jade's house where Mia spends the night to avoid her father. Since her mother's death, she's had a hard time being around him, and so she spends most of her time with Jade.
How's your dad?
I hate being around him. It's so depressing.
She convinces Jade to sneak out to go to a party where some kids claim they can use a hand to talk to ghosts.
Haley's video. You're doing it again tonight?
No.
To see if it's real.
No, not tonight, Mia. I can't.
Jade. It's my mum's Remembrance Day. Please.
Daniel can come too, yeah?
If he's touching my Gucci, yes.
Riley tags along. At the party, Mia gives it a try. How it works is you light a candle,
Would I open a door?
hold the hand, and say,
Talk to me.
and a spirit will appear. Then if you say,
I let you in.
the spirit will possess you. but you aren't supposed to go longer than 90 seconds before releasing the hand and blowing out the candle to close the door to the spirit world.
Time it. As soon as she lets it in, it cannot go for more than 90 seconds. Am I clear?
What happens after 90 seconds?
They'll want to stay.
Mia lets a scary-looking drowned lady possess her.
He's behind you now. You'll split you, pretty boy.
But they can't get her to let go of the hand, and she goes over the 90 seconds.
83 seconds, Josh, get it off her!
I'll split ya. I'll split ya. I'll split ya. Run.
But she enjoys the experience and seems fine.
Hey, you okay? We went a bit over.
That was amazing.
And even wants to do it again. Riley is freaked out because the spirit seemed to talk directly to him in a very threatening way. Mia and Jade plan a party at Jade's house while her mom's away to try the hand again.
You busy tonight?
You want to turn, eh?
And Daniel does.
No, we can't go to Joss's. This place is trash. He's pissed.
My house then. Mummy's at 9, so...
See you at 10.
Jade's boyfriend Daniel ends up making out with the family dog while he's possessed. Ew. Why, God, why? Mia and the others take turns using the hand, laughing and filming each other. It's all fine until Riley begs to try it.
Jade, please.
Riley, I said no.
What if we did it for like 60 seconds?
Mia, stop.
60 seconds, Jade. You don't have to be a bitch about all things, Riley.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Jade says no, but Mia allows it when she leaves the room.
Okay. What about 50?
Okay, 50. 50 seconds?
I'll time it.
Talk to me.
The spirit he contacts is Mia's mom.
I'll let you in. I miss you so much, me.
Mom?
Hey, that's 50 seconds.
No, please don't close it off. Let's say it's my mum, please.
And so Mia lets it go on way longer than she's supposed to, with grave and immediate consequences for Riley, who starts bashing his head violently against things. Yes, this is one of the scenes where I was 100% cowering and trying not to look. Riley ends up in the hospital. Sue and Jade are furious with Mia, and Sue bans her from visiting because she suspects that Mia gave Riley drugs and that's what caused his injuries. Mia convinces Daniel to crash at her house that night, although he leaves when a truly bizarre supernatural occurrence results in Mia sucking on his foot while he sleeps. You heard me? I have no idea what that scene is actually doing in the movie because they play it straight and it's so entirely weird and out of nowhere. Lots of gross stuff happening to poor Daniel in this movie. In the commotion at Jade's house, Mia took the hand. She uses it to talk to what she believes is her mom. I kind of think the spirit is actually the drowned woman she connected with the first time, imitating her mom to control her. Because when the drowned woman appeared, we heard a distorted, bubbling water sound.
Talk to me.
Hey,
And we hear that sound with some of the later appearances of Mia's mom as well.
Mia? He needs to die.
But not with the other apparitions we see.
Talk to me.
It's also notable that within the text of the story, the reason that you can't go above 90 seconds while contacting the spirit world is otherwise they'll want to stick around, and Mia went over 90 seconds with the drowned woman. I'm not sure if it was Mia's mom or not when Riley first saw her, or if it's been the other one the whole time, though. The spirit convinces Mia that Riley is suffering and needs her help.
Mia? Riley needs help.
Mia tells Jade and the others that she's still seeing things.
How is he?
Every time he comes to, he tries to kill himself.
The guy who gave Duckett the hand said that if you die while they're in you, they'll have you forever.
Have any of you guys still been seeing stuff?
Even when she's not using the hand. And Joss and Haley, the two that introduced them to the hand, take Mia and Jade to meet with Cole, the kid we saw at the start of the movie who was looking for his brother, Duckett. Duckett is the one who originally gave Joss the hand. I also just think it's cool that the design of the hand has all of this graffiti on it, so it looks like it's been through a lot of hands. Cole blames Joss for what happened.
He actually thought he had friends. You guys always inviting him to shit, acting like you cared. But you were using him.
We weren't using him, Cole.
A real friend would have seen he was fucking him up. You didn't.
But after some convincing, tells Jade and Mia that if Riley stops using the hand, his body will kick the spirits out because they get weaker the longer they stay. But Mia and Jade are dubious. To be fair, he does kind of totally keep hurting himself whenever he gets the chance. And his poor sister, God, the constant, unceasing hand horror. I thought they were only going to do it once, but narp, they got me twice. 2 times. Mia thinks they forgot to blow out the candle and left the gate open when Riley was initially possessed. They try to close the gate by bringing the hand to Riley's hospital bed. When it doesn't work, Mia tries to see if she can contact Riley, and a creepy kid lets her in.
Is there a boy here? Him. I can take you to him. Okay. I'll let you in.
And shows her Riley being assaulted by numerous spirits. Mia then becomes obsessive about trying to help him. She goes home and her father, who clearly can't read the room, reveals a note from her mother that he had hidden from her, which contradicts what the spirit told her, which was that her death was accidental. Mia is in denial and extremely upset. She's attacked by a spirit masquerading as her father in her room and tries to stab it with a pair of scissors, but accidentally stabs her dad instead as he bursts through the door to help. I don't think he dies, though, because he's alive later when Jade finds him. The scene is a nice mirror to the start of the movie and shows us that Mia might be heading down the same path as Duckett, though. Mia flees the scene and heads to the hospital with the intention of putting Riley out of his misery.
Riley can't stay there. He's suffering me. What do I do? He needs to die.
She lures Jade to her house to get her out of the way. Sue apologizes to Mia because the tox screen on Riley was negative, and so she leaves her alone with him. Mia plans to scissor stab him, but chickens out, and kidnaps him with the intention of throwing him out of a wheelchair and onto the highway instead. The ghost of her mom is urging her on.
You're doing the right thing. Show him the way.
But she hesitates, and Jade runs down the hill towards them. We cut to a body thudding onto a car, and Mia lying in the street and slowly getting back up. Then Mia's at the hospital, Riley is on a stretcher, and then, in recovery, looking much better, talking to his family. Mia sees her father and then is swallowed by darkness until it's illuminated by a candle. And she sees a hand reaching out in the darkness. She grasps it and appears in a room full of people speaking Greek gathered around a table, and the man holding her hand says,
I'll let you in.
And I'm left gaping, open-mouthed at the screen like it's the Red Wedding. The realization that she had died dawned on me pretty quickly after seeing her in the road, but the way the story comes full circle with her becoming one of the spirits is so elegant in its simplicity, and on rewatch, it feels like I should have seen it coming. Maybe some more astute viewers did, but I was blown away. I'm unsure if Jade pushed her into the road accidentally or purposefully, but however it happened, it was not the outcome I expected for this movie. I think the ending sticks the landing so well in terms of just how sad and hopeless it really is. When we meet Mia, she's grieving and isolating herself from her family, and in a different movie, this might have been a healing journey where she comes to accept the loss of her mother and begins to move on. Instead, Mia's story is cruelly cut short by spirits that are preying on her at her lowest point and using her grief to manipulate her. Loneliness is an essential part of Mia's character. She is desperate for connection and love. We see it in the way she tries to integrate into Jade's family, and with her attempts to connect with Dylan, and in the way that Haley characterizes Mia as clingy.
She's fine.
No, she's not fine. She irritates the fuck out of me.
She's literally done nothing to you.
She's so clingy, man. It's fucking depressing.
Mia is deeply hurting and drowning in grief, and it also comes through in her eagerness to escape it.
It was Mum's 2 years.
That was today?
Yeah. I just want to forget about it.
It's not unlike the way a lot of teens who are in a vulnerable place for any number of reasons can develop a substance abuse issue, which can, in some cases, be deadly. And to be clear, I don't support the criminalization of or war on drugs. But I don't think that's what this movie is about. Rather, it paints a picture of how teens can be at risk, how other teens can enable them or act as bystanders, and how adults can fail to see what's going on before it's too late. The ending of Talk to Me works because it hurts. Because as flawed as she is, we care about Mia and we want her to get better. We want to see her reconnect with Jade and her dad and to learn to live with her loss. But we know she's never going to get that chance. It's horror in the plainest sense of the word, and it is as beautifully executed as it is devastating. Mia's death is especially sad because after all of that, she still gets no peace. She isn't with her mother, she isn't in a pleasant afterlife, she just exists in a void until someone else uses the hand. No wonder the spirits are so eager to take little vacations in other people's bodies. I also want to talk about how this movie uses color choice in both the sets and costuming real quick, because it's simple but so effective. When we first see Mia at her mom's remembrance, she's wearing black. Of course, it's situationally appropriate, but it's also notable she's almost always seen wearing dark colors when she's at home with her father. One of our first shots of Mia also shows she's wearing orange nail polish that she chips away at nervously. I might be overanalyzing, but it seems to me it's showing how her grief and isolation is eating away at her and overpowering any positivity in her life. When Mia is with Jade and her family at the start of the film, we see her wearing a cozy yellow hoodie, but as the movie goes on and Mia sinks further into obsession and despair, we see her wearing yellow less and less, and it's more muted when she does wear it. By the end of the movie, she's not wearing any yellow at all, and the only yellow that remains are her stabbing scissors, which she sees as a means to rescue Riley from a similarly miserable fate. In terms of the set, the color palette in most of the scenes where Mia is with Jade's family or surrounded by people are warm, with lots of browns and oranges and soft, cozy lighting. Many of the scenes where Mia is isolated and alone, including pretty much every scene at her house, are lit dimly, with a cool color palette featuring a lot of grays and blues. It helps us visually understand the depth of Mia's loneliness and the warmth and hopefulness she feels when she's with other people. It's a really effective visual shorthand to show why she's so susceptible to the hand, because at first it seems to give her the opportunity to connect with her peers and access that warmth. We saw her spend most of the movie trying to reach for the light, but by the end she's alone in the dark and the only warmth is offered by the hand and the candle. There will probably be people who watch this movie and think the kids weren't believable because they keep using the hand, even knowing what can happen. But I think a lot of people underestimate peer pressure. Do it. As well as the way most teens have a serious case of it won't happen to me-itis. The teens using the hand, even knowing about Duckett, the boy at the start of the movie, isn't unbelievable at all. Think how many teens try untested pills at parties, even after hearing about overdoses and seeing numerous PSAs. The fact that it's preventable is part of what makes it so tragic. The ending is also tragic because we see that the hand has moved on to a new group of people, and it's likely similar tragedies will unfold as a result of its influence. It's also great because the premise of the hand traveling around to new groups of people sets the stage for all kinds of interesting sequels. I think this one would be hard to top, but I would love to see them try. Overall, Talk to Me is a refreshing and unforgettable offering in the supernatural horror genre, but it's also one I won't find myself returning to, at least not for a while. That's just my opinion, though. What did you think of Talk to Me? Did you enjoy the ending? Did you see it coming? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, look out for a poll on my channel for our next spooky season video. And feel free to drop suggestions for other horror-related content you'd like to see in the comments as well. Don't worry though, I will be getting back to your regularly scheduled Star Trek programming soon. I will still be reviewing Lower Decks, and I am still working on the longer Star Trek Was Always Political series. But anyways, like, share, and subscribe for more videos. See you next time. Wiedersehen.